Okay, here's our third example. Example 3 starts getting even a little bit more complicated. This one is a multi-step equation. Solving multi-step equations sometimes have the distributive property. If there's parentheses and a variable and you can't put these together, then you're going to have to use the distributive property. All right, so again, I like to circle this. Even if there's a negative out front, I include the negative with it. And then I multiply once, and I multiply twice, okay? So hopefully last week we were getting this skill down, where we use the distributive property because it doesn't go away. We keep using this particular method and this distributing property, multiply once, multiply twice, and simplify. Okay, so 4 times n is going to be 4n. I must rewrite it. You have to show your work. 4 times 6 is 24. But I asked myself, what's the sign that's going to be on there? This is a positive times a negative. We do include the negative on that 6. So this will actually be a subtract 24. All right. And finally, I subtract a 1 and equals 3, or equals 31. All right. So then once I have all of this simplified, there's no parentheses or no distributive property left. Then I'm going to combine like terms. We always do it in this order. DCI. It stands for distribute, and then combine like terms on the same side, okay, not across the sides. You don't combine like terms. If they're over here, right, that's why it could get more complicated. It could get more challenging in the future. And then very last, I do inverse operations. Distribute, combine like terms, do the inverse operations. Okay, so next step is to combine some like terms. Here we go. I'm going to put this one together with this one, right? Because they're numbers with numbers and variables with variables, and the 4n doesn't have any other friends to get together with. All right, so this is going to turn into negative 25. So I rewrite it, 4n minus 25 equals 31, right, like that. Then I'm going to add 25 to both sides. Because remember, I go furthest away from the variable on the same side, and I have to do the opposite of that first. Okay, so then these cross out. Here, let me just do this. There we go. You get a cross out on it like that. And then I rewrite it. 4n, because these are opposites, they turn into 0. I drop down 4n equals, and what is 31 plus 25 would be 56. And our very last step is to take this 4, right, like this, and I divide by 4, because this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is to divide by 4 on both sides. Divide by 4, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 will cross out and allows me to just call it an n on that side. So my final answer is n equals, and it looks like 56 divided by 4 is an even 14. Okay, again, if we had to check our answer, we would plug it back into the original. All right, so plugging it back into the original would look like this. I would put my 14 right here in the spot where the n is located. All right, and then I would go minus 6 and minus 1 equals 31, right? And I would crunch that. So instead of using the distributive property, I could just simplify this. 14 minus 6, and I get 4 times 8. I don't have to, I could drop the parentheses because now it's 4 times 8. And then the minus 1 right here equals 31. And the multiplication always happens first, so 4 times 8 is 32. And then minus 1. Oh, look at that. It does work out as long as you're doing the arithmetic correctly. Check. It does work out. I checked my answer, checked my solution, and this is the only answer to this particular problem. Sometimes equations could have more than one solution, but most equations only have one answer that makes it true. All right, that concludes our example 3. Check out the next example, example 4.